Right. Welcome, Sammy.
Thank you. Hello.
Please, firstly, congratulations on your HOH win.
Thanks.
So it was, up all night trivia, and you pulled through. So, kind of, how was that competition for you? Why were you gunning for it so hard and whatnot?
I think that it was bad for my mental health that it exists, and I feel like the hosts who decide to host things like that should probably be put on a watch list. But failing that, though it was a neat competition. It was a neat enough competition. Like I liked the spin on it with an endurance comp, where it wasn't something just like, "Hey, post here every 5 minutes." And also, like, I mean, it's something that you can overcome with like doing good at. Like, I mean, it was definitely like finding stuff fast and posting it. Like, I mean, I actually slept and still won, which most comps like that would not be possible. So like I definitely better than it could be because of that. As for the gunning for it, I mean, I feel like that's a bit obvious enough in my with my DRs for now, but for an update with it, it's basically just like I I mean, with a player in the game who I had literally no communication with until I won my HOH, it kind of seemed like I had to. I mean, we'll see if that ends up making a difference, but I feel like it was something good to have to like form the bonds and like have that as like a hey, I had HOH, I came to people, I didn't put them up, so that I can like use that as like a trust building thing. But really, it was a matter of like just trying to make the game a more bearable experience. Maybe that's the right word. I don't know.
Fair enough. So, ultimately you ended up nominating Mira and Malik. Did you want to kind of talk us through the nomination period for you?
Yeah, it was kind of like so with putting up Malik, it's very much like that was the safest other option that I could really do because it's like there was some people in the game like Crow where it's like I wasn't putting him up anyway, but if I would have, like he would have gone home. It wouldn't have been a question. So it's like there was people in the game who if I put them up, it wouldn't have been a question in the slightest whether they went home. But then there's other people who if I put them up, they're connected enough that like they wouldn't have taken kindly to putting him up as a pawn. Like very early on, I considered the idea of putting Shinx up because I'm like, well, this would make it happen. The problem is, if I put up someone who's that connected in the game, I am just going to leave the next week, and so it's basically like, do I pick to try and ensure something happens, or that I can play the game with everybody, but maybe leave immediately, or do I not do that and hope that things work out so that I don't still not get to play with the game with everybody? I don't know. It's like I kind of like I picked him because it's like worst case scenario if things go wrong and I do like lose whoever I put up. Like I mean, even with my trust rankings, like Malik wasn't very high on them, so it's like I like talking to him quite a lot. But it's also like just from like amount of game talk with people and stuff like that versus position with it, it was probably the best I like option I really had there. Like I technically had options I considered like Val. But like I feel like with the all women nominees up to this point, she really would not have taken this well. Plus she seems to be someone who I can actually trust at this point. She seems a lot more connected after this HOH, so like I'm glad I didn't put her up.
Sounds good. So, like you mentioned, the HOH is, can be a great way to really improve your kind of standings in the house. So, how do you feel like, are there any notable relationships you feel like have changed since you have become HOH?
I feel like Val has probably gone up quite a bit with it. I feel like I don't know. I feel like MJ was going to drop until MJ like actually was talking, being like, "Look, I'll do this because that's what you want," and etc. like that. So that's a good thing. I feel like Crow and Ryan, who were already, I mean, well, Crow was already like at the top of my list. Like, I feel like those two have benefited a lot from this. I feel like I feel like Aiden has dropped. Like it's like I've said before, like I like talking to Aiden, but we don't really have a strategy thing. So the fact that they're really the only thing that we've had that it really mattered with, where it's like, I mean, he still hasn't given me a straight answer about who he actually wants to vote. Definitely something that comes into play there. So like, it's really my biggest changes there. Like, is just the fact that like Val has probably gone up a bit, and Ryan has gone up more, but like yeah, like Aiden's dropped. And other people it's like they have some adjustments, but like I feel like everybody it's like at least around the same spot.
Sounds good. So, you guys do the bartender POV, and you happen to be our third person to sweep the week and secure the POV. Um, so, what made you gun so hard for the POV? Are you concerned that this may make you look threatening to the other house guests?
I don't know. I feel like if there wasn't three people so far who've done a sweep week, I feel like people would care more about that aspect of it. I feel like people are more focused on who has consistently been doing good in comps than they are about like who has won two of them, if that makes sense. But like I don't know. It was more like it seemed like a way to like make sure that I like whatever felt like the better option to do that I could do. Like I probably could have just thrown it, but it's like. I wanted to have the option or like have it as sort of like a tool with using to talk to people. For instance, like I feel like the fact that I went for it and was able to use that and not put Val on the block was what really helped and it was one of the things that really ended up helping my bond with her, for instance. Whereas if it was just like I just didn't win it. It's like I didn't put her up, sure, but like there wasn't as much of a like, well, why would she have been the one to go up? But like talking during the week made it like a good way of leading to that, and then being like, hey, I set this up essentially, but like I am not putting you up, even though here are reasons like why it would be good for me to do so, but I don't want you up. So I feel like it did help with that, but really it was just a matter of like I don't know, securing that like no one was going to do something silly, I guess. Like, I don't know. Again, like I probably could have not won it, but like it was a quick enough competition. It was something that I felt like I could do. So I'm like, we might as well play it. More fun than just throwing it. So
All right. And so, you win the veto, don't use it, makes sense as your baby. Those were your noms. Um, so before, the nominations were made, the Mira Sammy chat was finally created. And, you guys had a good talk and came to somewhat of a truce. So I just want to hear kind of your side of like how authentic this is for you. Do you feel like, no, I really still need Mira out of the game, or do you feel like kind of how are you feeling about it?
see, without going into like any of the like outside of game portions of it, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I want to believe that there's genuinity to, or whatever the word that would be. But like I feel like I want to believe that it's genuine, and I feel like I want to, like I want that to be the case because like it would make a better long run and stuff like that. But it's like I don't know between the fact that like she was apparently telling other people at the same time like about it as a like basically like I'm fighting for my life in the game right now, making it sound like it was just a trying to stay in the game to get further thing, in addition to the fact that like I haven't, I mean she didn't proceed to not talk in there like the last like 48 hours. So like I don't feel like it's going to make a big difference. Like maybe it will, but I feel like if anything's going to make a difference, it's Jordan seems to want to try and bring us together, which I don't know. I mean, we'll see how well that goes, but yeah, I don't feel like the existence of the chat and the talk is going to make a big difference in this game as of right now. I could always change. I mean, be better than I'd feel better than the current position at least. Like I mean, like as much as I did the thing with it, like I'd rather not have this. The whole point of the HOH was I'd rather not have this whole thing be something I have to deal with. So like, if I didn't have to deal with it for other reasons, I would consider that a win. But like, I, I don't know. It's like I don't. I, if I'm proven wrong and there is a difference, great. But I'm not. I'm not holding my breath.
Right, fair enough. So the noms are locked now, and do you have an idea currently of where you think the vote is headed?
Yeah, I think that the vote is heading that Malik's going to be leaving, unfortunately.
Okay, so how does this affect kind of your plans for the game moving forward?
Um, it doesn't make them very good, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know, like the way I see it is like I'm kind of in a bit of a slump with it right now where it's like if I go for anything, if I do anything, like it's not like especially the fact that like on both sides of it, like people know that it's a feud to the point of potentially having that be wide or keeping her. It's not like I'm kind of stuck because it's not like I can just suddenly like I think that even if things did get good, it'd be sus if like things just suddenly stopped being a feud. And the problem is like I don't know, it doesn't really feel like I get to play the game with the thing how it is. It kind of just feels like until one of us are gone, that's just the game for us pretty much. So like I feel like it does I feel like the fact that she's staying it doesn't really affect my game because it just kind of means it's just going to be more of the same for right now. Like if she gets power, I'm probably going up, but like if she got power before, I was pretty much certainly going up. It just more out in the open this time. So like I don't know. I don't really feel like it changes much in theory versus if I had just not won it, even though I'm like kind of not great about the situation, I'm like, you know what? It's like it is like the person who's leaving is someone who I was like bottom of my ranking before the week besides Mira. And it's like, you know what? It's like things could be worse, obviously. And it's like really all it is taking out someone who like isn't even connected enough that he feels like talking to people before getting voted out of the game. But it's like, you know, I don't feel like it's gonna change a whole heck of a lot with it.
All right. So obviously, as outgoing head of household, you cannot win the next HOH. So who are you rooting for to kind of win?
I'm rooting for any of the Canadian alliance to win. I was going to root for the major alliance, but I feel like everyone in the major alliance is just going to save face and do whatever. Whereas I feel like this has shown me that the people in the three in the Canadian alliance, particularly Crow and Ryan, are more likely to, if it comes to it, will put themselves on the line with it. Michael kind of salvaged himself because I was kind of feeling like, Michael's just kind of going to let it happen. But the fact that he's actually like trying, and the fact that I've been hearing like it's like, yeah, this is one of the people who's actually made it clear this is what I want to do, while everyone else is beating around the bush. Like, I don't know. I still like Jordan. I mean, obviously, but like, if I mean, like less, I trust a little less than before. But at least he was honest and he tried to do things. Like, I don't think it's like I trust less, but it's like I feel like if I could have my dream thing of somebody to win, I would probably be picking one of Michael or Crow or Ryan. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that unless something has changed drastically, Michael's putting up Crow. So like I don't really want that to happen either. So if Michael's still putting up Crow, I would like Ryan or Crow to win the HOH.
All right. Well, thank you, Sammy. Always informative as usual. Period. I'll go ahead and stop right back here.